This show is about your mental health. While it's supported by the pillars of positivity and hope, if you find yourself in crisis, please reach out for help. In many communities in both the United States and Canada, you can dial 211 to be connected to mental health and crisis services in your region. While it may seem like it at times, you are not alone. Hello, my name is Kevin Frankish. Welcome to The Happy Molecule. Well, this isn't The Happy Molecule yet. That's the podcast. I'm calling this my elevator pitch. My chance to try and sell you on The Happy Molecule in the time it would take to ride up an elevator. I'm going to warn you, though, this elevator pitch is probably more like being in the elevator in the Burj Khalifa as opposed to some smaller building. The Happy Molecule is, first and foremost, about mental health, your mental health. Depression is running rampant in this world. We have reached crisis levels, yet it's something we don't talk a lot about still, and we don't spend a lot on still. Depression and anxiety are the number one health problem being faced by the world today. And it's not just because of the depression, the anxiety, and the stress, because depression leads to alcoholism, marriage breakups, problems in schools. It leads to sicknesses. It's been linked to heart disease, diabetes. There's research being done to see if it triggers cancer cells. It is something that is far more serious than we give it credit for, and we don't like to talk about it. There is a stigma that stops us from talking about it, and so we all live with it, our own personal hells, if you will. We need to change that, and I'm hoping that this podcast will help to do that. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Kevin Frankish. I was diagnosed in 2006 with severe depressive disorder and general anxiety disorder. I'd been on television for, at that point, about 35 years. And I thought my life was over. I thought it was it. I thought I was the only one who was experiencing something like this. But as soon as I went public with it, I was inundated with so many people saying, I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one. So you are not alone. For me, that gave me a bit of hope, a bit of solace. At least it wasn't just me. I'm going to be interviewing the foremost experts in Canada, North America, and the world on depression, on suicide, on loneliness. And it may sound kind of, depressing, but let me tell you that there are 3 catchwords that I insist on in this podcast. One is community. We have to work together. And you know what? We're in this together. So whether or not you yourself have been diagnosed with depression, a loved one, even if you don't, we're going to do checkups on your mental health. Another word, positivity. This show is going to be about positivity. This is not about telling you how bad things are, even though I just spent the last few minutes doing just that. But this is about creating an atmosphere in which there is a positive vibe. And that leads me to probably the most important word, the one thing I hope you take away from this podcast, hope. I always say that hope is the opposite of depression. When you have depression and it hits you hard, it seems all hope is gone, all hope is lost. With hope comes a better feeling about yourself and about your depression, that you can actually either conquer it or live with it. That's what I say. I live with depression. I suffer from it once in a while still. Hey, by the way, I'm not perfect, okay? A lot of times it's going to be do as I say, not as I do. I try hard. I fall down sometimes. So we're going to go on this journey together. I do this podcast weekly from my homemade studio here in my downtown apartment in Toronto. Podcast, a new episode will be uploaded every Tuesday morning for you. But that's not all. Because like I said, we are developing a community. A video version will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search Kevin Frankish. I will be keeping a blog going to look at past episodes, to preview upcoming episodes, and to get your comments and your thoughts. This is your podcast. What do you want to talk about? What are you thinking about? I will also be running a Facebook Live show every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. And again, that's Kevin Frankish on Facebook. A Facebook Live show in which we are going to work with our community. We're going to talk about the podcast, but we're also going to talk about what's on your mind. And you can email me anytime at thehappymolecule@gmail.com. We're going to take this journey together. We're going to have our ups and our downs together. But the end goal is that you take something away from each podcast that gives you that bit of positivity and that bit of hope we talked about. We are going to have something every episode. It's called the Me 3. That's the sound of it. What it essentially is I'm going to ask of each of my guests 3 very simple steps that you can take to improve your mental health. Steps that don't cost much or anything, that are not difficult, that are very easy to accomplish and easy to do. Something as simple as drinking more water. And the reason we're going to do the Me 3 every episode, and the reason they have to be simple, is I know with me, when I get into a depressive episode of some sort, I have no motivation. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to get out of bed. But if I can give you 1, 2, 3 simple things you can do without much effort, A, you've started a journey. B, you have a sense of accomplishment. There's a lot of experts that say one of the first things you should do every morning if you have depression is make your bed, because it gives you a feeling of accomplishment, that you've done something, that you at least have accomplished that in a day. And you'd be amazed once you start, and I know with me, once I start working on something, I'm okay. It's that motivation to do that. I hope that you will not only listen to this podcast, but you will engage with the podcast, engage with me, engage with the experts. This will be a two-way street. And I'm going to end off this elevator pitch. Are we at the top floor yet? I'm going to end off this elevator pitch with my, I guess we'll call it a catchphrase. I hate to use that term, but it's my catchphrase. And I use this all the time when I did a previous show called Kevin's Isolators. I end every single show with, I think, the best advice I can for all of us. And that is, take care of yourself and take care of each other.
Please consider subscribing to this podcast, and also check out the Happy Molecule Extra at thehappymolecule.blogspot.com. There you'll find a link to a video version of this episode, be able to join the conversation about mental health, learn about our Facebook Live show, and get a preview of upcoming episodes. You can email us at thehappymolecule@gmail.com. I'm Erin Davis, wishing you good mental health.